The guy that went out of business, I think, was in Florida, and somebody else picked a company up out west and was starting to grind crystals again. And I was going to tell him that, but when I went to load the radio, I realized that it didn't have any high voltage according to the meter, and it wasn't putting out power. My Kenwood TS530 is non-functioning at the moment. Anyway, over to you, Glenn. N1SNG, N1XZW.
Yeah, okay, Charlie. Other than the monkey chatter next door, you're coming in fine business here. And yeah, there was a company, an electric radio magazine. I forget the name of them, but they kind of went out of business. I went into some sort of a receivership, so I believe they're still doing that. They're selling the crystals and also special order stuff. So yeah, they're still in there. Yeah, I think they're one of the last ones, other than just privately people doing them. But anyway, good morning to Gordon, W2GOR. Beautiful signal to Rhode Island this morning. So put on your therapy. Sounds like you're coming along quite well there and recovering, and we'll be back to work shortly. And yeah, Perry, beautiful signal in here. Chris, on the vertical antenna, you lost about 10 dB. So I wouldn't recommend that, at least between you and I this morning here, the distance and all. But I could hear you 100%. No problems there. And yeah, Perry, I did get a response back from W1DAN. He's been working with the ARRL technical correspondence group and all that. As far as I understand, that's how it is. And I asked him if he could come up with a number, and he did. So instead of speaking to more or less just the snack bar at National Grid, I was able to talk to someone that knew exactly what was going on, and the work order has been released, so everything's up to date. She said it's just no matter when they get over there, but you're on the docket, and you're everything's lined up. Put it that way. We checked all the numbers and work order numbers and so on and so on. But anyway, yeah, a little misty here this morning. We did have some rain last night, and yesterday we had a little bit of snow. Yesterday, early morning, I believe it was, but that all disappeared. It's running the Ranger into the Thunderbolt at 150 watts out, so it says. So that's not too bad. A little water on the antenna with rhythm. And now I'm getting some wrecking somewhere outside on the power lines. It's about every minute, every half a minute or so, and we're just going to have to do one thing at a time here. But that's nothing compared to the other issue that I have here. So let me see. Okay. Other than that, I'll keep it short. Keep it rolling along, and I believe Chris is firing up the DX100 there. Very good on that LED episode there. It sounds like you nailed it down. Another piece of garbage that gets plugged into the wall that affects the communications here and there. So I'm glad you got that down, and your neighbor is pretty cooperative there. So we'll get it back to you, and over to Chris, and then over to you, Perry. AJ1G and 1SNG. Go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, I think it really goes to, I think it goes to Perry, because Gordon came in there. I think it's Perry's turn. Go ahead, Perry.
Yeah, AJ1G and N1SNG, W3MMR. Good morning, Charlie. Good morning, Glenn. Or, Gordon. Great signals. I mean, really, the band's in fantastic condition this morning. Whew. This is what operating should be like every day. But we couldn't be that lucky. Chris, you're cracking me up, man, about that chili cannon video. That wasn't me that got shot by the chili cannon. I took the video. That dude got actually pretty hurt, too. I was at a radio event for 93.3 WMMR, and it's called Preston and Steve's Camp Out for Hunger, and they do it every year right before the holidays, and they camp out, or right around Thanksgiving, and they camp out for a week and have all these live performances from different musicians and rock musicians, you know, local celebrities, sports guys, everybody trying to raise money, you know. It's a big radiothon. And, I mean, every DJ is out there all day long, and it's a pretty cool big tent set up in the middle of the parking lot, food, all that stuff. But anyway, they made a chili cannon. And the guy who got shot by the chili cannon was an intern. His name was the Pituation, not the Situation, like from the Jersey Shore, but the Pituation, I guess, because he was into baseball. And they put him in front of this pneumatic chili cannon. And the guy, Hal Sparks, the comedian from television, is the one who did the countdown. And the guy got shot by a load of chili, which in what looked like a giant antenna launcher or a potato gun, and got shot with a load of chili right in the chest. And it knocked him down pretty good. I remember the EMTs were checking him out and everything. He was all right after the fact, but it startled him pretty good. So if you want to find it on YouTube, it's on YouTube. Like, I think it's like the Pituation gets nailed by a chili cannon or something. Anyway, you can find it on my channel probably too. That's funny, Chris. I forgot all about that. And I have another one on there when a trash can blew up at work. I had a welding spark go into a trash can. I caught it on security camera, and the trash can exploded. It's got like 30. It's my most viewed video. Anyway, yeah, man. Not much new to... Oh, yeah, Chris, I am live streaming. So you'll be able to hear your next... I didn't have the first transmission going, but the second one here, I will have it on... it's all fired up now, so... Oh, boy. Back up to you, Chris. AJ1G in the group, W3MMR.
Yeah, okay, Perry. W3MMR in the fine group here. AJ1G. Let me play station engineer here on the EX100. Drive down a little. Boy, the thing is SWR is really low on the antenna this morning for some reason. Usually I got the stubs hanging at the outer end of the 80-meter dipole, or the 3885 section of the dipole, to resonate it down on a DX window, and it's still very low up here as well. So that's a surprise, but it's doing fine. As long as no turkeys fly into it today, we'll hopefully keep it that way. Yeah, that was that chili cannon thing found me. You know, like I said, I opened up YouTube, and you know, based on what you watch, there's always suggestions of what you might want to watch now, and that just happened to show up. You know, believe me, I wasn't looking for it, and I never really did watch it. But you know, at first I said, what the hell is a chili cannon? And if you go on Urban Dictionary, it's nothing like what you're describing. That's all I'll say. But yeah, I'll have to see that other one about the exploding trash can. That's pretty bad. I can remember when I was a kid. This is before I got into radio. This is like, I was about 10 years old. No, it must have been like 11 or 12. I was probably just starting to get into radio. I was at summer camp. This has nothing to do with radio really at all. But Boy Scout camp. There was one day a week where they gave the cooks a day off. and they used to send food out to the various campsites where at this camp where it was a big camp where there was a lot of different troops there at the same time, a dining hall and all that. And then the one day of the week that the cooks had the day off, they sent food out. You had to make your own food, which was pretty cool, And but I remember they sent out a number 10 tin can of beans, and some wise guy kid that was sharing the campsite with us. I don't think he was from our particular troop. Put the number 10 can of beans in the fire, and you can imagine what happened. It was literally raining. Hopefully, it was probably shrapnel too, but it was literally raining beans all over the campsite. When that thing went, it was like something off of. It was a bad video. We didn't have video then, of course, and it was loud too when it went. It literally flew beans everywhere. So yeah, I imagine a bunch of chili getting shot at your chest. There's a lot of mass there and a lot of velocity, so there's a lot of force. Hopefully you didn't get hurt. I bet you would knock the wind. Must have knocked the wind out. We can make a lot of funny puns about this whole conversation, I suppose. Anyhow, Glenn, Charlie Royce. Who, by the way, this guy Charlie Royce, Perry, they were talking about. He's this billionaire guy from Philadelphia that knows how to. He knows how to find money, apparently, because he's an investor. He's basically he's playing the market. He's a market guy. He plays the market. Probably has a lot of old money to play with, his trust fund and all. But he rebuilt this gigantic hotel down in Watch Hill called the Ocean House, and apparently he did that with grant money. He found money somewhere. He didn't do that with his own money. Not all of his own money, apparently. And apparently that's what he's doing with Westerly. He's finding a lot of, I think a lot of this, he might even be getting affordable housing money, for what he's doing. It's a good thing. It's a nice way to do it. I mean, we just had a situation where this group out of Boston wanted to put in this hideous, looked like workers' housing out of the Soviet Union from the 1950s apartment complex on a very small piece of land right across the river from downtown Westerly. And he was going to come in and get a tax break from the town and all this, and a lot of people found out about it, and we ended up having a referendum to let the people decide rather than a town meeting, which was probably loaded with people who aren't even residents voting. That's the allegations anyhow. It ended up going to referendum, and it was like totally blown away by everybody. It was like 5-1 in the area of town. We had different voting districts. In the Pawcatuck section of the town where this thing was going, there was a 5-1 ratio against it, and on the average 3-1 against it throughout the town. So imagine to kick those guys out of there. On the other hand, Charlie Royce is doing it the right way, and he's really bringing Westerly back very, very nicely. And that United Theater is gorgeous now. And I guess I noticed when you probably remember the old China Village, it used to be the only Chinese restaurant in the area. And it was the only Chinese restaurant. You went into it, and they served Italian bread instead of noodles in the beginning. At the beginning of the meal. But that is now some sort of taco surf bar type of place. It looked really cool from the outside. I just walked by it, and it was right across the street from the bookstore. And I said, "Oh, what's this? This is something new also." There's a lot of nice stuff going on downtown here. And even my mechanic, my mechanic's place, is right next door to the ice rink. That building is owned by Charlie Royce, and he pays rent to Charlie Royce, and it's not a bad rent. So anyhow, that's it. I guess it goes over to, speaking of Charlie's, it goes up to you, Charlie. N1X, VW, and Gordon, if you're listening, come on back in. Don't be shy. Love to hear from you, and you're sounding great. N1XZW and the fine group AJ1G on the Dixie 100.
Yeah, Gordon. I guess he's still gone. Anyway, Perry, that wall war that you've got, that it was creating the hash, and it didn't reproduce that same situation at your house. So what kind of a load were you putting on it?
Well, I did put a load on it, but the thing is, hold on, let me turn this down. The thing is, I also didn't have an antenna hooked up to it, basically, you know, because that's what ends up happening. You end up plugging that thing in and into the light strip, the LED light strip that's around his daughter's room, and the common mode currents flow onto that, and that thing acts like a giant antenna. So that was the big difference, you know. But the cores suppressed it a little bit on 75 meters, a little bit on 160, not really at all on 160, but they did a little bit of something. But no, the only difference was, Charlie, I didn't have the light strip antenna basically around my room to test it.
Yeah, that, and if the 2-amp one that you gave them, wouldn't quite run the lights, there was a pretty heavy draw on that 3-amp one, and switching supply doesn't really do anything until you put a good load on it. The components in there that make the noise, and to your point, without that probably 20 feet of wire around the room with all the little LEDs on it, maybe more than 20 feet, some of those things are quite long, you didn't have an antenna to really transmit the hash. Glad to hear you're on your way to having that problem solved anyway. 3 amps. If it's a 12-volt wall wart, some of the laptop power supplies are all of 3 amps and more, and some of them are 12 volts. You just have to poke around till you find the right device that doesn't make noise when you hook it to the antenna. Anyway, I got up this morning, went outside to get the pan that the animals ate from, and they hadn't finished their food, so I left it out there for the birds. And it was drizzling. It was sprinkling and drizzling out, so anyway, beautiful thing. You don't have to shovel the rain. And the other good thing about it too is I shut my water pump down for the winter and put antifreeze in it that I used to pump river water up from the river to keep my fish pond full, because there's always a certain amount of loss from a fish pond, and raining every few days keeps the thing topped off without me having to hook a garden hose to the house and add water from the house, because we don't like doing that because the chlorination is no good for the fish, and it the blast of water stirs up the muck on the bottom, and as it is right now, my fish are all lined up in a row, sitting peacefully. It's kind of cool to look at them in the wintertime, because they go into this funny state where their fins basically are moving just enough to keep them stable in one spot. And they all line up facing the water flow, because I do leave one pump running in there to keep the water circulated and to keep the water filtered. There's a filter in there. And it goes to a waterfall that dumps the water back down. So it creates a gentle flow of water across the pond. So they all line up in the pond facing the waterfall, and they don't move. And if you look at them really closely, you can see their fins moving just enough to keep them stable in one spot. You get a nice warm sunny day, they come to the shallow end of the pond and come up near the surface and absorb the heat from the sun. And as soon as the sun starts to go down, they go back and take their position under the waterfall and line up in their row, and it's like an inactive, active pond in the wintertime. And then when the ice covers it over, then you don't see them anymore, and you just pray that they're still going to be all there and well come spring. Anyway, over to you, Glenn. N1SNG, N1XZW.
All right, Charlie. N1XCW, N1SNG at the West Warwick Marine Aquarium. Yeah, there's something else. That's how they go into a so they hit the pause mode there, I guess, and could become dormant or whatever. Very interesting. The way the weather is around here. It warms up so quickly, and then the temperatures drop, and they seem to compensate for that. But at least you got some movement in there of the water. so it doesn't stagnate. A friend of mine, he has a koi. He has a koi pond, and it's probably I'd say 20 feet. It's 20 feet by maybe 10, 12 feet, and he's got 2 waterfalls in that. But what happened one year is it did freeze over. Now he's got some big koi. These kois are, anywhere from 6 inches to say maybe 16 inches, 18 inches. They're gorgeous. I mean, they're absolutely beautiful fish. The colors, oh my God! And he's probably had maybe 20 plus in there, and it's just beautiful, beautiful. The lily pads, and of course, But what happened one year? It got really cold, and the pond froze over. Of course, the fish, now they're dormant. And what was happening, he didn't realize it until, later on. The mink, they have mink down by the shoreline. A lot of people don't realize that the mink lay down the waterfront. So they found a spot to go in and go under, and of course the fish, they were just had no defense at all. They were just dormant, and these mink were pulling out his fish. They got about 10 of them, and they kill for the sake of killing, and they would have cleaned the whole pond out. But yeah, they're very defenseless at that point, and then the mink themselves, it's a little critter you don't want to tangle with either. But he was able to net quite a few of them and send them on their way. So, but hey, other than that, it sounds like you're all winterized there, Charlie. It's good. You sounded great this morning. Beautiful signal down to North Kingstown. Usually you're way in the back there, but you're up front along with Perry and Chris. And when Gordon came in here, he was right in the room. So yeah, conditions are very, very nice. And yeah, all the Perry, when you look at all that LED stuff, for decoration. I mean, I have LED Christmas lights, but they're not. I don't know where the transformer is, but in any case, I have LEDs up on one of my antenna supports, and I have no problems at all with that. And I've seen people with the lights in their houses. So back in the day, I guess we had black lights with black light posters, and now the Christmas lights. I guess that's enough to satisfy the individual. But it's really hurting the ham radio community, that's for sure. It always makes for a good article, though. Like I was telling Dan, I said, once this is all done and over with, I'm gonna do a point-to-point, story on it from the start to the end, and what I had to go through. And people put these articles in the magazines or whatever, but you got to put down the contact numbers, where you're located, what town, what state, and leave numbers for others to, contact numbers for others, because, you can have all the articles you want, but, try to help the guys out, too. But anyway, he was able to do that, so I'm feeling pretty good about that. And, yeah, Chris, with that antenna, the L there, what a difference when you hook that up. You went below S9. Of course, the carrier level meter is on the R390A really is not a good representation, but just to my ears, You lost quite a bit there. But, you know, on the long haul, probably would be just fine. So, I like where you have the coupling and the decoupling of that particular antenna set up. So, with that, we're going to get it right over to, how the heck's it going? I think it's going over to Chris. Let me see. Yeah, I'll send it over to Chris. I can't even see my own writing here. AJ1GN1SNG.
I think it comes to me. Let me make sure I got it. That'll be a 3 MMR. Glenn must have forgot to wrote me down. Wrote me down. Look at me. They wrote me down. To write me down. Like, I can't even talk, dude. So I have no room to talk. Let me turn this radio down. Get the HT going in the background. Glenn, that's a good idea. Write a story. Like, we both should write stories about this, man. Because I think it would be good for others, especially for others, to know, what we went through. You know, yeah, there's information online about, like, you know, ways to track noise down, or, things to do this and do that, but they don't talk about specifics. You know, they're kind of broad, the articles, coming from a ham who had to deal with the noise, dealt with it himself, and rectified the situation, I think would be a really, really good idea. I'd be interested to read it in QST, because I get QST every month, and a lot of the times I don't even read it, because a lot of the only things I usually ever read about the old stuff, or like a new antenna or something, but that would definitely spark my interest. Man, if I wrote a story about the plasma TV I bought, and the first time I was messing with this neighbor, and man, I could write a book. I just am too lazy to write it down, to write all of it down. But hey, Chris, or not Chris, Charlie, that's a really good idea, dude. A really good thought. Okay, that 3 amp power supply might be maxed out over there, like running balls to the wall. And when my 2 amp got plugged in over there, it just, after about 5 minutes, everything was fine, and then after about 5 minutes is when it started acting up. So it's like maybe something started to heat up in there, and just couldn't handle it. You're right. They make a bunch of those 12-volt, 5 amp. Laptop chargers online on Amazon. It's just, excuse me. Unfortunately, I wouldn't know really if it's quiet until the thing is in his house. Unfortunately. So that's going to be kind of a pain. But I'm going to ask him to drop off that power supply this morning, the old one, the offending one, so I could do voltage compare and contrast the two, so I can do voltage measurements, make sure it is at 12 volts. So some of those 12-volt wall warts are 13 volts. Some of them are 11. They're not all like right at 12 volts. So I'll take a look at that, and then I have a picture of the power supply, and there's nothing on it that says like sequenced, or it's a regular AC/DC adapter is all it is. A 3 amp 12-volt adapter. So shit, what was I going to say? Oh man. Anyway, so hopefully this all gets squared away quickly, because it's going very fast as it is. I'm just hoping it keeps going that way. Yeah. I had so many blacklight bulbs in my room as a kid, Glenn. I had one of the 3-footers, and I used to had it in the corner, like in a vertical in the corner, from the ceiling down. And I had a Pearl Jam black and white or blacklight poster. I had a Green Day blacklight poster, a bunch of other ones. And that was the thing back in the day, was blacklights and lava lamps. I had a couple lava lamps too. Jim KM4XG talks about his lava lamp, but I would always ruin them. I'd grab them and shake them, and it bust up all the lava inside, and it would never clump back together. So every time it would heat up, it would just be these little balls everywhere. But I wouldn't mind having another lava lamp. That's funny, man. Lava lamps and black lights here in the shack. Anyway, keep it moving. Up to you, Chris. I guess, Chris, you just switched antennas that last go around. I didn't even notice. I had to run down the hall for a minute, but maybe you did, maybe you didn't. I don't know. But you're still coming in great here. AJ1G in the group, W3MMR.
I'm listening to everybody through your live stream right now. It's very, very low delay. Of course, when you come on, you sound like you're streaming worldwide via the internet, because that's what you're doing. I think your audio comes right in out of your audio, whatever your audio goes into the radio or something. But yeah, it sounds great. No static at all. It's like FM. Yeah, Perry. Hey, those don't think that your generation. We had lava lamps and blacklight posters, but they were certainly different groups in green. It wasn't Green Day and or anything like that. Yeah, I remember those in the dorms at URI. I never had any myself. I had maybe one. Maybe I did have one. Yeah, well, you might do, Perry. I don't know. Rather than trying to futz around trying to find another wall wart. Do you have an old DC power supply there, or an old? Just lend it to him for the Christmas season to get you through. He's eventually going to take the lights down. Like a 12-volt DC power supply for a mobile rig or something. You can lend him. It sounds like, or a small transformer power. Make one. You got to make him a 12-volt power supply. Or why don't you just buy him a new set of lights that plugs right into the wall? It doesn't have a DC supply. That'll probably be the best thing. I'm surprised that most of the lights you see they just plug right into the wall. They don't have their own little DC supplies. But I can see how that's why they're noisy. And yeah, Charlie, interesting on the fish pond. We had a little one here. It's like a molded plastic 275-gallon thing. It's still out there, kind of like kidney shaped. We didn't have koi in it. We just had some big goldfish, and then a heron showed up. And we have a lot of herons around here along the shore, and this heron found our little fish pond and would sneak in there all the time. Eventually, we had no fish, and so we just kept growing plants in it, and they had frogs after that. The frogs were living there, and then the peepers and stuff like that. And occasionally, even one of the cats we had at the time would go fishing and then fall in and get wet. And whenever the cats over there, like getting wet, I guess. And right now, it's kind of like just filled in, just like a marsh fills in all the time. Things more and more, leaves and stuff falling in all the time. Eventually, we stop cleaning it out. It's still some of the see some stuff that's falling in. But no fish, and it must be quite a place you got going on. I wonder how big it is and how many koi you got in there.
Get out of there.
They are beautiful fish. And that's
I have fish.
You just kind of hang out in certain spots and try to catch the sun and all that. That's cool. Let's see. I guess it's over to Glenn, and I am indeed back here on the Dixie 100. Everyone sounded excellent, and yeah, I did switch. I was on. The reason I was on the 28 600 level at all was because I was down in the DX window working the Europeans down there on the inverted L. Where when I do that same swap with vertical or dipole, when I'm working the Station Europe, it's about 2S units better on the vertical because that's why I built it. It's a low angle antenna. And it has very little high-angle radiation, which is what you need on this band for local stuff. And so, yeah, I probably dropped about 2S units, I would guess, on the vertical, inverted L vertical. It's 35 feet up, 35 feet over, and then, of course, I've got the elevated tube going to 15 elevated radios underneath it, which I must, per local zoning ordinance, a very local zoning ordinance applicable only to this property, and blessed by the resident zoning enforcement officer here with me. I have to roll up those radials here unless it's raining or something every time I'm done using them. So I'll be doing that today, but I think it's raining out, so maybe I'll get to moving up during the day and use it again tonight. It takes about a half hour to unwind them and hang them out, and then another half hour to wind them back up and hang them at that point. So back to you, Glenn. N1 SNG, I think it goes to you. AJ, oh, no, it goes to Perry. Did I have that right, Perry? No, you gave it to me, and I guess I give it to Glenn. AJ1G.
I think it goes over to Charlie, and then to me. Go ahead, Charlie.
Everybody always forgets about me. The point, Chris, about the lights is they're not just Christmas lights. They're these lights that do a routine. They dance, they flicker, they flash. And in some cases, that's all in one little box, the wall walk box. But now, Perry has said that's just a common wall walk. So I'm going to say that they have one of the strings that's got another little box in line on the wire that manipulates the sequencing of the lights. Which I don't doubt that, because I had a set of Christmas lights at one time that did that. These aren't really Christmas lights. Kids use them to decorate their rooms. And the black lights. Back in the late 60s, the local town here had a youth center for the kids, and teenagers at the time. They painted the entire inside of the building black, and had black lights all over the place. All kinds of light shows and all kinds of stuff. For their dances, when they were having their dances, and they had this place completely blacked out. They even painted the insides of the windows black. Well, don't you know, right after I got out of high school, my father gets a job. Actually, I was still in high school. That's right, it was summer vacation. My father gets a job. They closed the youth center down, and the building was purchased by a company that made curls, man-made curls. And they wanted all the black paint removed from all the windows so that, they could paint the inside of the building a different color and have windows that they could see through. And I spent my entire summer vacation using zip strip and razor blades to clean all the paint off of, literally hundreds of windows in this building. I mean, it was a dance hall. It was a big building. And there were literally hundreds of windows in this building. All the little small pane windows, 10 by 12 glass. A panel of windows might have 10 by 12 glass panes in it. And we're up on ladders and stages and yeah. That generation of teenagers just before me, man, they sucked. Them in their black paint. Yeah, I got a small fish pond as well there, Chris, but it's a little bigger than your kids' fish pond. And mine's maybe 500 gallons. It's about 5 feet wide and about 8 or 9 feet long, with a little above it pond that's only 4 by 4, with a waterfall falling from that pond. And my filtering system pumps the water up to the upper pond and it falls into the lower pond. And I had a mink. I saw it several times, but it never bothered my fish. What got my fish was an otter. I live on the river, and one year when they lowered the Johnson's Pond, they did it too fast, and they flushed this river otter all the way down here to West Warwick, and he was just doing what river otters do, eating fish. And I don't know if he could smell the fish in the pond, or if he was just out for a walk or what. But my fence around the pond is broken, and I hadn't bothered to fix it. I got no little kids in the area that I had to worry about getting into the fish pond area. So the doggone river otter came in through the broken fence and cleaned me out 40 goldfish in 2 days. All they were hens all around the outside of the pond. Everything but the head. Always goldfish heads. And, at the time, I was pretty upset because some of my goldfish were like 8-10 inches long. And he cleaned out all the small ones. The following spring, when I started setting the pond back up, I bailed it all out with a net. I found 2 little baby ones that had survived just because they were too small for the otter to find. They must have been hiding somewhere. Anyway, over to you, Glenn. N1SNG, N1XZW.
Yeah, N1XCW, N1SNG, nice signal, Charlie. And the otter, that's a nasty critter. Along with the mink. If they get cornered or have to defend themselves, you really don't want to be around. Doesn't matter how big you are. They'll come right after you. Wow. Yeah, sounds like you've had a feast over there at your place. And anytime they do any environmental damage, like draining a pond like that, a lot of the fish congregate in smaller areas, and it's a feast for some of the whole food chain there. And I've been in back of the dam before, many years ago, back there, and there was tons of fish. It was all kind of shallow, but there was tons of fish. There were huge snapping turtles behind there. And then that goes down behind Star City Glass, and then the old Garland Pen company there. I think that's the first spillway. So yeah, he must have had quite the ride down there, that's for sure. But he definitely had a good dinner at Charlie's restaurant there. Oh man. Yeah, and Perry, I still have my black light. It was only a small one, like 18 inches. I only had a few posters in my room. I forget what the heck I had. I know I had a Jimi Hendrix poster. I think I had a Santana poster, and I still have my lava lamp. That's actually, it's in the shack here. There's a lava lamp, and I had one of those Oregon globes. It looked like something out of a Frankenstein movie. Just the arc and all that, and you'd put your hand on the ball, the globe, and it would, it would go to your fingers and stuff. Yes, and actually, I have a disco ball too. I have a disco ball. Yep, and of course, all my smoking tools, I still have those from back in the 70s when they had head shops around. You could go in there and they had water pipes and bongs and stuff like that, all head stuff. But the black lights, and Charlie, you must have went through quite a few gallons of Strippies to get that paint off. I can't imagine. I don't know if it was latex or oil or whatever, but that must have been quite the place. I know a friend of mine. He painted his ceiling black. Actually, we all did in his bedroom. And his mom came home, and she didn't know what was going on. He didn't tell her. So here we are. We're all in the room, and the whole house smelled like pot. And we're in his bedroom painting the ceiling black. So I thought for sure she was going to have a heart attack. So anyway, we, a buddy and myself, we jumped out the window of the bedroom into the backyard. We got out of there pretty quick, but yeah, back in the day, man, But in any case, most of that was all incandescent bulbs. This LED stuff. Actually, the lights that I have in front of my equipment here do generate a lot of noise if you're close up with an antenna. They don't interfere with the radio stuff. But yeah, the tangled web, and those lights, yeah, they change color. I see those little boxes, those little inline boxes in there. So more than meets the eye. I wonder what one of those costs brand new. If it's a Walmart item, you know, or it's an Amazon item, or you know where they buy these products. Probably no two alike, but they do raise hell. You just go figure that set of lights in that house was radiating into the antenna on your house. That's what's happening here. But it's just you go figure. And there's so many of them devices out there, and just I guess you got to be a ham radio guy to have an issue with the stuff. But I'm glad you nailed that one down, because it sounded like you were going into the vortex there with that issue. So anyway, it'll be interesting when my guy shows up here from National Grid, and we'll see how he works. I'm not going to say anything about any other parts of the neighborhood having issues with noise. It's just going to start right here at the house, and we'll see what happens. Whatever he wants to do, shut the power down all the way and go on from there. But yeah, it's not very pleasant. And right now, actually, it's quiet here. If I tune up to 3890, it starts to roar a bit and down below. And when it rains, there is some influence with that too. But anyway, enough of that crap. Good on the posters. I wonder if you still have those posters. They were pretty cool. We used to get them at a place called Spencer Gifts. We had a mall around here years ago. Charlie knows where that is. And they used to have all that stuff over there. The posters and so on. I guess they're worth a few bucks now. So I guess a blast to the past. So with that, we'll get it right over to Perry. And then I guess Chris, I don't know if he said he's going outside to work on his antenna or something, but pick it up, Perry, W3MMR, I1SNG.
KK4GZQ, good morning.
Hey, Kev, good morning to you, buddy. Get it right down to you. We got myself, Glenn, Chris, AJ1G, and Charlie, Mr. XZW. Good morning to you, Kev. Great signal up this way this morning, buddy. Great to hear you, as always. What we got here? I don't have my blacklight nor the posters anymore, Glenn. I wish I did. God, I wish I did. I had all that stuff, but a lot of the stuff from my childhood and all the stuff I hung on to from that time period all got, I don't know where it went, disappeared. It got thrown away. Maybe it was at the house when me and my ex-wife split. And I moved out, and then there's a whole situation with that. But anyway, I couldn't get my stuff out of there before the house went bye-bye, unfortunately. And it's no doing of my own. Well, partly on my own, but had some bad luck there. But anyway, yeah, I lost a bunch of radio gear, stereo stuff, everything. I think she ended up selling it, but anyway, enough about that. I wish all this blacklight talk makes you want to get a blacklight. Put one up here in the shack, and paint like the corners of everything neon green so they all stand out. Can you imagine, man? Lava lamps everywhere and fog machine. It's usually pretty foggy in here anyway, especially when I got the 811 ring fired up at night. But oh man, anyway, let me see. Charlie, you're exactly right about those lights. Yeah, they are. They're not Christmas lights. I guess they can be used as Christmas lights, but they're accent lights, I guess you call them. They're tape, and you put them up. They're LED lights on tape, on double-sided tape, and you roll them out and roll them around the perimeter of the ceiling. up and down the corners of the walls, under the bed if you want, I guess. And then those plug into an RGB unit, and /infrared unit for the remote, and I guess that's the whole controller and the sequencer and whatever that does in there. And then the wall wart plugs into that. So that's what my fear was it was that unit and not the wall wart. That would have been crappy. It's crappy either way, but it would have been a lot more crappy, It would have been a heck of a lot harder I would end up having to buy them all new lights, but thankfully it's just the wall wart causing the issue. And like I said, I'll hopefully get it. That's a good idea, Chris, about using a freaking little 5-amp analog iron core little power supply here now. I got 2 of them on the bench over there. That would work great, but I don't know if his daughter would like that in her room. But yeah, I mean, it's like the daughter's Christmas present, I feel bad, but it's like, I mean, it's so bad, so whatever. I'll get the guy squared away, man, and get him all situated. And Glenn, yeah, that's a good idea. I would just focus on what you got going on there. Obviously, you don't want him to get distracted by anything else, man. You want him to take care of noise A and noise A only, Oh boy, so I'll stick in here for one more. I still have a little bit of coffee left here. Band's still holding up. You guys are starting to dip, take some fades. So I think the next go around things might be crapshoot. But we'll stick in here for one more and see how things go. Down to you, Kevin, and Kevin, you'll turn it up to Chris. AJ1G, I think it's who I was turning it to. Could be wrong, but I think that's it. KK4GZQ in the group. W3MMR.
Okay, Perry, fine business. W3MMR in the group. KK4GZQ. Morning, Perry. Thanks for picking me up. And good morning, Chris. AJ1G, Glenn. N1SNG, Charlie. N1XZW, and I actually I heard W2GOR that's recovering from surgery. Gosh, I can't remember GOR's. Is it Gordon, maybe? Anyway, thinking maybe GOR, maybe not. But nonetheless, he had a good signal in here this morning as well. Good morning all the way around. KK4GZQ near Lexington, Kentucky on a BC610. G this morning, cranking out about 300 watts carrier here as I'm looking over plate current and whatnot and listening to you guys on Stuart Warner R392 that has served me well so far. Couple of projects in the shack. The reason I'm back on the 610 this morning, I'm planning on pulling out the AL1200 and popping the case on it and doing some investigating. I've had it for a while, for about 8-9 years now, with no upgrades or anything like that, and I'm getting a weird smell out of it. And I was thinking maybe I just had some dust in it at first, but I'm just unsure, so I'm going to investigate there. Nothing wrong on grid or plate current or anything like that, but something there. And hopefully it's just dirty, but nonetheless. Other than that, guys, online right now, I went and did a job yesterday, and finally my tongue jack for the trailer that I use is finally gone south on me, so I'm online, and it's just easier to go on Amazon than it is to run to Lexington or Nicholasville or somewhere like Harbor Freight or something like that. I can have it delivered to my door cheaper and with no delivery charge. Looks like about as good as anything you can get out there otherwise. So I'm kind of into the Amazon thing, I guess you might say. And other than that, boy, all you guys are sounding good. I've heard everybody. I've been back and forth between here and the kitchen. And I've got the 570 on, and they're listening on the 40-meter loop. You guys are making the loop and the inverted V, no problems, without any help of the SDRs. And then otherwise, your topic of discussion with the black lights and the posters. I was a little kid, but my brother had, he was into Kiss, and, oh gosh, I can't remember some of the names of the groups and whatnot, but nonetheless, he had the black light posters and the lava lamps and all that. And it kind of reminds me of that show called The 70s Show. Anyway, kind of funny. Watch those guys. Chris, let me send it up your way. I'll stick for one more in here with you guys. Otherwise, I've got to get on the road today. I've got to go see family down south. AJ1G to transmit with the group. KK4GZQ. How copy, Chris? Over.
Yeah, okay, Kevin. Yeah, beautiful copy. You might as well be on the East Coast as right here with us as far as signal strength relative to everybody else. Doing a great job. And I'm thinking back now. When we talk about black lights, I remember my WB2 ZPS basement shack, which was very similar to the one I'm in now, just a different basement. The walls were white. The walls white, and I think we had a fridge down here that was gotten really down beer and soda and stuff like that. I remember we painted that like orange. Big glow orange, and then we had like big glow lettering on it or something like that, said beer and soda or something like that. And I had black light posters, and I had, I just put the lights out, I had the filaments glowing on stuff in racks, and the black light posters were probably a big peace sign or something like that. Yeah, it was a long time ago, over 50 years ago now. I mean, I was over to high school 51 years ago. I'm just slowly, as Jimmy Buffett says, I'm growing older, but not up. And I'm going to sign out on this one. And I'm going to go down to DX window, see if any Australians coming in down here. It's right enough time now. About 45 minutes to sunrise here. And we'll see if anything's happening down there. I'll have to shift back over to the 28 or 600L on the side. So everyone have a great day. If I don't talk to you, any or each of you prior to the holiday, or have a great New Year's Eve and happy New Year's to you. I hope you all had a good Christmas. I think everyone pretty much did. So up to you again, Charlie. N1XZW. Flying more of the gang here on 3885 AJ1G.
AJ1G, N1XZW. Good morning, Kevin. This is going to be my last one because the fish tank lights probably just went on. But, you brought back a memory there, Larry, about the remote control and that interface box on the wire. We had a set of Christmas lights like that once, and they drove my radio nuts. And we don't have those lights anymore. They mysteriously disappeared. Wonder where they went. You just jogged my memory. They were just white lights, and the little interface box actually played music, played Christmas music, and the lights danced to the music. And it was such a hash creator that it mysteriously disappeared. Okay. I remember that now. I think I had blocked that from my memory. Hey, Symmetry guys, I'm going to jump out of here. The fisher at the glass looking to see me come around the corner. And I'll catch up with you all tomorrow morning. N1SNG, N1XZW.
Yeah, okay, Charlie. Yeah, that must have been a real pain. So I imagine if they drained the river in back of your house we would find a whole bunch of those Christmas lights in the mud. 7-3 Charlie, nice signal this morning. Good morning to Kevin, KK4GZQ. You're sounding really nice into Rhode Island this morning. There was a little increase in noise, but I've got the sideband is on the top, sideband is on the bottom, and it's getting a little bit noisy here. So Chris is signed. I think Perry's still here. I'm going to pass it to Perry. If not, Kevin, pick it up, and I'll stay in here for one more. The W3MMR N1SNG.
Yeah, N1. Alright, just let me make sure I'm getting over this carrier. N1SNG in the fine group W3MMR. Okay, Glenn, real good. Great signal up this way as always, Glenn. Or down this way, I should say. And good morning, Kev. Good to hear you, buddy. Great signal up this way as always. Yeah, band's starting to get a little flaky locally here, so I'll make this one my last. Where the hell is this at? I'm trying to find something here. There we go. Yeah, so hopefully, I get a nice new power supply for the guy, and, I never have to hear about this again. But, I always know that there's always going to be something new. There's always going to be something different popping up. And if I don't want this, I'm going to have to move. I'm just going to have to, get out in the country. That's my plan. I don't plan on living here my entire life, but, I might have to move a little faster, So, that's a story on that. But really, really great to hear everybody as always, man. It's always fun to get in here with you guys this morning with a low noise floor. And yeah, Chris, you were talking about the noise floor earlier, how quiet it is here now. It's about as, right now, if you look on my live stream, this is as quiet as it gets here. This is about as best as the band, as great as the signals are down a little bit now, but a little while ago, it was the best as good as it gets, so. And as quiet as it gets. So fingers crossed. Pray for me, guys. I'll say a prayer for you too, Glenn. Anyway, 7-3, everyone. Have a fantastic day. If we don't somehow talk to you guys in between now and Saturday, Happy New Year. And you guys be safe. Have a fantastic day, and we'll catch up with you next time. Down to you, Kevin. KK4GZQ. In the dwindling group, this is W3MMR listening out.
Morning from Ohio, KD8SMU.
See you, Shane. Hi, Shane.
Okay, KD8 SMU recognized. Morning, Shane. My name's Kevin. KK4GZQ located just outside of Lexington, Kentucky here this morning. Well, Perry, good signal on all you guys, you, Charlie, Glenn, Chris, no problems at all here. And I've got to actually get out of here and get ready to get on the road here early this morning. And Shane, I'm gonna send it up to Glenn. I think Glenn's still here, and let Glenn pick you up and make sure you guys are copying each other. So, anyway, and Perry, I was trying to think of some of the groups that my brother used to. Peter Frampton came to mind. I remember a lot of that with his posters and whatnot that Tim used to have. Peter Frampton and Kiss and all that. 70s were some good days, no doubt about that. Anyway, 7-3 all the way around. It's good to hear all of you in there this morning and make a few transmissions. And I guess we're got a few more good days of weather, and then right after the turn of the year, we're supposed to get some more seasonal like temperatures and weather, I guess. So with that, 7-3 all the way around, and coming up back up to you, Glenn. Great to hear you in there this morning. And we'll try to be here again tomorrow. N1SNG to take it. KK4GZQ in the group.
Yeah, okay, Kevin. KK4GZQ, N1SNG. Good luck with the the trailer coupling and all that, and sounds like you're going to get real busy today, so all the best. And yeah, the 70s, yeah, brought a lot of different mindsets, the way the fads were and all, and but yeah, there's a cool video. It's Neil Young's Harvest Moon. It's a real good video, so if you're into Neil Young, yeah, it kind of brings me back to the 70s. But anyway, we'll say 7-3's Kevin. Great signal here this morning. Got to get rolling here, and I didn't get Shane's call there, but I'll pass it over to Shane. This will be my final, and great getting in here this morning. So you have a safe day there. So over to you, Shane.
Alrighty, thanks, Glenn. N1SMG, this is Kilo Bravo 8 Sierra Mike uniform. Shane up here in Ohio. And, yeah, I'm always late getting in here. I'm my second cup of coffee. Still ain't enough, but yeah, I'm still going. Wait for the sun to come up and gonna go get in the truck and go keep cleaning out a house. A buddy of mine, his mother passed away, and him and all his brothers live out of town, and they basically don't want anything that's in the house, so I've been kind of grabbing stuff that is good and can be used, and some of the stuff that they might want to keep, I'm just going to ship to them. They just basically washing their hands of the house because they just don't have room and that stuff. But anyway, back to the subject of the black lights and all that. Growing up, I did have that, but more my brother. He's like 3.5 years older than me, so he was into it first. But we did have the velvet posters and the black lights. A lot of them, I think, weren't like bands and stuff. They were more just like cartoon characters. I don't know if anybody remembers that. They made the velvet posters with the cartoon characters. They weren't like they were on the cartoon. They were a little risque, I guess you'd call it. But other than that, I don't have too much. I know the group's really dwindling. I don't know who's left. Terry's gone, Kevin's gone. Glenn, you said you were going to be gone, and I don't know who else is in here. I've been listening for a while on a web SDR. Finally got this thing warmed up, and like I said, I'm not sure who's left, so I'm going to throw it up in the air. Oh, Charlie, I think, was in there, if he can hear me. Maybe that's where it should go. So yeah, I'll send it over to Charlie if he's still in there, or whoever else is. So 7-3, everybody. This is KB8SMU.
Great hearing you, Shane. Great signal, man. 7-3, W3MOR.
You too, 7-3. And Charlie must get out of there too. KB8SMU.
He might have went to feed the critters, but he may be back. I got to run, though. Start getting ready for the mine here. Catch you later, Shane. Have a great day, man. It's a pleasure as always. W3MOR. Clear.
You can't see what the heck is going on. It's hard to tell, you know. Yeah. See, I have under the counter lights LED.